Hey everyone, it's Carissa at Sprinkled with Glitter, and before I get started on the actual project, I just want to say I'm sorry for the lighting here. I'm working with a new camera and I'm getting all the kinks worked out, but I think I finally got it figured out today, so the next video will be better. But for today, I decided to go ahead and post this because I just love this card. I am using this stamp set from Clearly Besotted. It is called Keep in Touch, and I'm using this adorable little rotary phone. I'm inking it up in some Memento Tuxedo Black ink because I'm going to be doing some Copic coloring. And I'm stamping it onto some Nina Solar White cardstock. This is an 80-pound cardstock, but you could use 110 if you're worried about bleed through. And I'm going to do some simple Copic coloring on this. Now, because I want to keep the lightest red as light as possible, instead of saturating the entire image to begin with, I am just going in with my lightest red, which is R24, and marking out the parts where I want it to be darkest. So I'm trying to think a little bit about where my shadows and that sort of thing would be, but I don't really let that completely govern. I just want to color and have a good time and kind of practice with my Copic markers because I'm not really an expert on this, but I can do a little bit of Copic coloring when I really put my mind to it. So I'm going in here and I'm just mapping out all those areas that will be the darkest, and I'm using my lightest color to do that. Now I'm going to come in with the R25, R27. I don't know. I have them all linked down in the description below. Actually, this is the R39, so this is the very darkest of that. And I'm coming in and just going over that part that I've already mapped out, but I'm not covering it completely. I'm just staying around the very edge of that because it is a very dark, intense red that I'm using here, and I don't want it to take over. So once I got that really dark part, then I came in with the R29. So I'm kind of going, I went the lightest, and now I'm coming from the darkest to the lightest again. And so this is the R29, and I'm just blending that out just a little bit. I'm being careful not to blend too far because I don't want to bring that dark too far. Like I said, I want to keep the lightest of the reds really light. I don't want it to be too intense. So once I've got that kind of blended out, now I'm using the R27 and blending out. And this did get a little bit too dark, so I went back and I came in with the R24 to kind of blend that out and make it a little bit lighter. But you can see I'm blending now all of this color into the entire image here and just really making this nice fun red rotary phone. Now keep in mind that if you're finding that you've gotten some of your areas a little darker than you want, you can go back in with your colorless blender and remove or push some of that color back, kind of lighten up some of that darkest color. So now that I have my red phone all kind of colored in there, I am using the toner grays. This is the T1 and the T3 to color in the edge of this rotary phone piece. So I started out with the lightest of the colors and I'm just blending this out. This is a really small area, so I didn't worry too much about getting this perfect. Once I went in with that darker color, I went back with my lighter color and kind of blended that out. And for the little piece that is, I don't know, what is that? Like the finger stop thing there? I used a little bit darker, so I went with the T5. Now for the cord, I am using the T5 and the T8. I went in with the darkest color first and added that where I wanted the darkest. And then I went back in with the T5 and kind of blended all that out. Now, it is a really small area, so you could really probably get away with maybe doing just one color, but I did do two. As well as with the heart. I went in with the BG11 and the BG15 and kind of blended those, and now I have that adorable teal heart. Now the coloring, the combination was kind of inspired by the pattern papers that I'm going to use, and I knew I wanted to have that nice red phone. So once I got that all colored, I am using the coordinating dies to cut that phone out of some masking paper. This is the Eclipse Art masking paper. It comes in a roll. I'm not sure if it's available. I know it had gone off the market for a little bit, but I'm covering that phone up. And then I'm going to use some tumbled glass distress ink and just kind of blend out from that. This is just kind of creating a base for it to sit on, kind of creating like a sky look around it and adding just a little bit of interest and helping it kind of blend into the card, making it feel a part of the card instead of sticking out from the card. So I'm coming in with a really light hand. Once again, this is not something I'm a total expert on, but it's something I can fake it until I make it kind of thing. And I'm just blending that out. Now, as I get a little bit more confident in the areas, I can go back in with a little heavier hand. And you can see when I remove this mask here, I have this nice kind of blue haze around my phone there. So for the sentiment, I'm stamping this little hello greeting, and I've prepped my cardstock. This is some black licorice twist cardstock from Basil. I've prepped it with a little EK Success powder tool, and I've stamped that hello greeting in some Versamark ink and then added some white embossing powder, and I'm just heat setting that really quickly. And you can see it's a little powdery there still, but don't worry, you can go back in with your fingers or a dry cloth and kind of wipe that excess powder away. And then I trimmed it down using my paper trimmer. Now I want to do some partial die cutting on this card, and so I thought I would create kind of a little negative space mask so that I could get my die exactly where I want it. So what I'm doing is I just cut that die out of some regular printer paper or some, copy paper, just some cheap scrap paper. And then I'm positioning it over the image where I want it to cut. And then I'm just slipping my die in there and just it kind of fits in there like a little puzzle piece. And I'm going to do a little bit of partial die cutting. So I have my sandwich made up here. I have a standard cutting pad on the bottom, and then I have my paper and my die, and I'm using this on the edge cutting pad. I really have good luck with these on the edge cutting pads and partial die cutting. They're just a few bucks, and it's really been a valuable tool for me to add to my collection. So you can see the part there that is sandwiched, the die is sandwiched between that little cutting pad there. That's the only part that's going to cut. So when I pull this die and this mask off, you're going to see I just have the area around that phone cord cut. So I can go in and I can tuck my sentiment and a couple other little pieces of pattern paper behind there to really just kind of create a fun, different way to use your dies and stamps together. Now for my little collection of pattern papers behind this hello strip greeting, I did use some pattern papers from Chickanity as well as Jen Hadfield, and that metallic paper or cardstock there I just love. That is from Tim Holtz, and it comes in a collection of silver and gold and like this coppery color, and it is really fabulous metallic paper, and I've been loving that. It's got a craft core, so it's really cool. Now for my card base, I used some Neenah 110-pound solar white cardstock. I scored it at 5.5 to create a top folding A2 card. And this piece of metallic gold cardstock, which is also from Tim Holtz, I actually added a little stitched edge to that using the Pretty Pink Posh Stitched Borders 2 border dies. And that's a really fun way to add a little bit of interest to a piece of pattern paper that you're using on the edge of your card. This stripe paper is from Chickanity, and I love, this is like the perfect stripe paper. So I've been using it on just about everything. And I'm just kind of layering these pattern papers up, adding them on with a little stamp runner adhesive. This is from the Jen Hadfield collection as well. And I'm lining these all up at the top with that top fold of that card. And once I get them all positioned down, then I can go back in with my scissors and trim them off. Now to adhere the card front that I created with all the Copic coloring and the fun sentiment on there, I am using some foam adhesive, and I'm just adding this all over the back of this card front. Now you could use some fun foam here as well, but I went ahead and the foam tape was right in front of me. So that's what I decided to use today. And then I am going to add this onto the card front as well. Now I was kind of having a little hard time fussing around and getting this lined up just right. So I went ahead and I turned my card upside down and put that edge right against my cutting mat or that surface that I work on. And then I, kind of allowed both of the card base and the card front to rest on that cutting mat and get those all lined up. Now to add a little bit more interest and some fun sparkling finishing touches to my phone, I'm going over the entire part of the red part with some Wink of Stella clear glitter brush marker. And I'm adding a mixture of some sparkling clear and some onyx and some charcoal sequins to the front of my card. These are from Pretty Pink Plush, and I'm adding them on with just a little Ranger Multi-Medium in the matte finish, and I have that little precision tip on there as well. And that finishes off my card for today. As always, you can find links to all the products used in this project in the description at YouTube, as well as over at my blog where you can find more still shots and information. Thanks for stopping by today. I hope you have a fabulous day.